Afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Racer here from Foundation Expo 88 YouTube. And we've just had a little post-conference chat, and Barley felt he just had a little bit more to add into the to the general conversation. So, Barley, over to you.
Okay. I think that there are two things that just struck me very strongly about my whole experience with the Expo. I mean, I was on site 2 or 3 weeks installing the work and working with the crews there. And I was just absolutely impressed and with the demeanor, the energy, the friendliness of people in Brisbane, the crews that I worked with while I was there. It taught me some nice lessons, some very nice lessons. Because in the States, sometimes everything gets very, very harried, and if things go wrong, people get very uptight. And I want to paint a little scene about the installation of the building, actually, of the foundation, the sculpture stand or the plinth that Gestation rested upon. We were getting down to the wire again for installing the sculpture, and a huge rainstorm moved in. We had set up everything and done the basic foundation for this large plinth that the sculpture was going to sit on.
Yep.
But we hadn't done the finish. It was a cone shape, very kind of an elliptical cone, and at that. And so it was fairly a beautiful geometric form, but it took a little precision to get the base concrete put in there correctly.
Yep.
And so we had done the centerpiece that was going to support the sculpture, that stand, and then the outside perimeter, and we were having to fill in the whole mound, let's say, that was going to be supporting the marble that was going to be supporting the sculpture. And a huge rainstorm moved in the night that this thing had to be poured.
Mm-hmm.
And I've a fair amount of concrete, but I've never done it in a huge downpour. And I've never worked concrete underwater. The base of this sculpture was literally where we had to be working the slope into the base, was literally under about 6 or 8 inches of water. And the crew was out there, and everybody's just getting drenched. And they were just smiling, having a great time. And I'm like, are you sure this is going to work okay? And they were like, no worries, mate. It's going to be fine. You can pour concrete underwater, and it's going to be fine. We'll just make a little super mix here, and it's going to work out great. And I'd worked with these guys long enough to know that, I would trust them and just go along with this wonderful dance that was going on. And it worked out perfectly. Everything was done well. The rain stopped. Everything drained away. Next morning, the form that you could not see in the nighttime, we were literally working with the touch of feel underwater with screen off this slope that needed to be precise for the setting of this marble on top of it. Came out just wonderfully.
That's a great story.
It was a wonderful experience, and it's something that's helped me through my time since, as far as like having a pretty good open attitude about no worries, it's going to work out here, and just the attitude of approaching life with, let's say, not what's necessarily what's wrong, but what's right here, and how can we all work together to make it work. And the other thing I wanted to add is that I was absolutely incredibly impressed by John Truscott's vision of not only the natural world and what he brought in with bromeliads and all the incredible floral things that were going on there, and the trees, and just bringing the great outback and jungle of Australia into that little space in Brisbane. But the incredible sculpture exhibit that he put together. I don't think there's ever been an expo before or since that highlighted all the arts to the extent of the vision of what happened at the expo in Brisbane. And I commend the city, I commend the people that organized the expo, and anybody that had anything to do with making that happen, because I've been to a fair amount of World's Fairs and expos, and I've never seen anything like it before or since.
That's
and
really...
You all have something to be very, very proud of. I really admire the vision and the way the community came together to make it happen, including Qantas Airlines for myself. And so, I can't say enough of kudos to your people, to the Expo, and to the people that made all this happen. It really was an incredible experience for myself, and I think for everybody that went to the grounds and were able to experience that. So thank you very much.
I can only say I wish the Lord Mayor was standing next to me, because he'd be in a far more authoritative position to say on behalf of the people of Brisbane, thank you very much for those very kind thoughts. And that rainstorm actually did feature in another major sculpture, another monumental sculpture, and that was Continuous Division, which was brought up from Adelaide by a fellow called Greg Johns. And it had to be humidified because it was raw steel, and it had to be humidified to actually go off in a rusty look, because it represented the rusty outback of the Australian community. So that same rainstorm had had various impacts upon the Expo site, believe it or not. So, all right. I can hear my family back in the background, and I'm hoping that not too much of their sound has transgressed into this very interesting final YouTube. Baile, thank you again so much. I do honestly look forward to catching up with you in person. You would be absolutely amazed by what's happened with that post-Expo site. It is one of the greatest post-Expo developments. It's called South Bank here, and it will be actually the jewel in the crown when the G20 get here in 2014, because the convention centre, which was part and parcel, the site where the convention centre is going to be where all the conferencing and thought bubbles occur during the G20. So when that occurs, you can think, well, I had a part of that. And hopefully your piece will actually feature quite prominently in the city's promotion of our arts and culture. And with that, I'll say good afternoon and thank you so much.